Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're viewing this from. It's my pleasure today to introduce to you the Generative AI Special Interest Group with myself, Biswajit, and Rajan as co chairs. Over the last few months, unless, of course, you've been staying in a cave, generative AI has become a buzzword. Ever since OpenAI came out with ChatGPT, and of course, different other versions of generative AI that are floating around in the market today, it has been the talk of the town. There are different applications. ChatGPT, of course, in its current open version, being completely text driven. There are other versions that are looking at video and images and all the other things that are out there. The not just the chatter around it, but the overall market of generative AI has been expanding and booming. Different estimates put the range of the total market size going up to anywhere from 25 to a $30 billion. As that chatter keeps growing, there is a lot of talk, there is a lot of learning that is happening. And that is what triggered us to actually start this special interest group. What we are looking to essentially do as part of the group is to empower every single listener or every single participant that is part of the group to essentially leverage and understand generative AI better, to be able to create solutions that are innovative, that are driving creativity forward, and helping augment what we call as human intelligence. As a group, we try to provide significant high quality resources to everybody to enable them to drive generative AI use cases in the real world, irrespective of the industry or domain that the people come from. These uses differ depending on industries, of course, but the common theme is generative AI. Moving forward from there, our objective is to essentially drive the potential of generative AI and revolutionize how people use it in the daily lives, depending on the industry that they are from, or even driving areas of scientific research. Generative AI, of course, has the ability to create new and unique content that has the potential to drive innovation, but at the same time, it has the ability to also simulate complex systems that can lead us to better understanding and predictability of what happens in the real world. In line with that, here at the Generative AI Special Interest Group, we are trying to become a one stop shop for every learning that can be done by leaders, by practitioners, by enthusiasts. And I want to qualify that a little bit because it is a lot about shared learning, given how nascent the industry so far is. So, therefore, as we come together as a group, it will be about sharing our learnings. It is about developing new use cases that come along. And therefore, the collaborative nature of this community becomes very, very important to drive forward creativity, innovation, and different ethical uses of generative AI. With that, I'll hand over to my co chair, Biswajit, to talk us through the different themes that we will touch on as we go through the paces in this one. Biswajit, over to you.
Thank you, Bhaskar. Now, as Bhaskar established our vision and mission statement and also the objectives, I will walk you through the next section, which is around the themes. Now, we have divided our themes into three dimensions. Now, as you can see, they are foundational, vertical, and conceptual. Now, by foundation, what we mean is that we want to underpin the basics of generative AI, like what generative AI is all about, right? What are the different business problem it can solve? What are the different techniques which constitutes generative AI, right? So this will help the learner create a solid foundations around generative AI. Now, once the foundation gets created, then we move to the vertical theme. The vertical theme is where we will be introducing the industry and domain use cases. And we will also collaborate with other SIGs like product SIG or fintech SIGs or a few others. We will also collaborate with few of the industry experts and try to establish a sort of a cross learning opportunities for all the learners. Now, once we have the vertical in place, then comes the depth, which is about the concepts. So, this in this particular theme, we will go deeper into the technical aspects of generative AI. Like, and some of you might be knowing that the concept like large language model, right? Prompt engineering, the adversarial learning, or the concepts of different deep learning models which are being used in generative AI. We will go deeper into those concepts so that the mysteries get revealed. So with all these three things in mind, what we are essentially want to do is basically what Bhaskar mentioned, the objective, right? To become the one stop learning hub of generative AI in a more collaborative and inclusive environment. So that's what we are essentially want to do, and that's the way we have devised the theme. Now what I will do, I will pass it on to my co-chair Rajan, who will walk you through the different deliverables of these SIG. Rajan, over to you.
Thank you, Biswajit, and thank you, Bhaskar, for setting this up. As you have all seen that we have a learning hub that we want to create, and that is where we have divided ourselves into various themes that we want to deliver around this innovative and new concept of generative AI. Innovative in the sense that the application level has been rising recently, and we have seen that the innovation that we can derive in our businesses through the applications of generative AI is massive. And that is where we all need to come together, solve the problems, understand that what all use cases we can solve, how we can apply different types of concepts. And for that, we need to have very dedicated agendas, very dedicated sessions where we can put our energies on, where we can spend time on understanding those use cases and concepts. And to cater to them, we have defined few deliverables which will be cutting across the three themes that we have identified as foundational, vertical, and conceptual. To cover these themes, we would be covering and we would be defining three deliverables, 3 to 4 deliverables every month across 5 different categories. These categories essentially are webinars, masterclass, articles, blogs, roundtables, and newsletters. Now, I'll define the objective of each of these deliverable, which will give a clarity that what you can expect out of these sessions that would happen regularly in a calendarized manner for the next few months. With respect to webinars, we want to cover up all the thematic areas. First of all, with respect to foundational, verticals, or conceptual, as mentioned by Biswajit, the objective of every webinar would be to sensitize the audience about any upcoming concept, any new technical concept that has been introduced, any use case that has emerged recently, with the help of various thought leaders, various domain experts who are working in this field right now. Moving on to the masterclass, the main objective would be to give you a hands-on kind of a feeling where you can try all the concepts through different tools, techniques, and the implementation level best practices that can help you to implement some of the use cases within your domain, within your industry, within your day-to-day operations. That is where the master classes will be focused on, which would be a bit technical as compared to webinars, but will be mostly hands-on oriented, which will not just talk about the concepts but also their implementation details. Then we will be focusing on a few technical articles and blogs, which will again cover the thematic areas, all the three thematic areas, whether it's foundational or vertical or conceptual. The focus of the articles would be to give you a quick bite in terms of reading, where you can go through the concepts pretty easily, and you have dedicated knowledge repositories being created around the generative AI concepts. It is really difficult to parse through so many information, so many documents that are available on generative AI on the web repository, and that is where these articles and blogs will serve the purpose to give you a very concentrated information in a succinct manner. Again, we will be involving a lot of domain experts to write these articles. We would be asking the thought leaders to contribute what are their leading thoughts with respect to different aspects of generative AI, be it on the technical side or the ethical side. Moving on to the next deliverable, we will be covering up roundtables. These would be specifically curated events for senior business and AI leaders where they will be coming together, solving a particular problem, a particular use case, a particular challenge that the industry is facing overall. It could be specific, it could be vertical specific, or it can be generic towards GI practices. It may happen that we are talking about ethics or governance around GAI, or it may happen that we are talking about how a retail industry can be benefited with respect to the GAI applications. We will be inviting a lot of ideas and themes that will that will be useful for all the different kind of personas who want to attend these roundtables. And yet we want to call upon a lot of practitioners who have implemented these kind of use cases in their respective industries or domains. So it would be a different kind of an experience for everyone apart from webinars, masterclasses, and articles. And last one would be newsletter, which will be combining the latest happenings in the field with, in addition to the interventions being done by the SIG on GAI. That means we want to keep all the audience, all the learners updated with what's happening in the field of GI, because every day you hear new information, every day you hear about new releases of the different tools, different techniques. You hear about the usages and misusages of the GI as a technique. So we want to keep everyone updated with what's the latest news that's happening in the field of generative AI, and give you the right information with respect to the right sources from where you can actually understand what is the truth behind any news that's coming out. So apart from the views of the thought leaders, we also want to sensitize our learners about what is the true source of information with respect to either conceptual part or the vertical part or the foundational part. So combining all of them, we would be rolling out the calendars for different months. We would be calling out experts, practitioners, thought leaders who are working in this area. We would be calling out technical experts, product experts who are actually implementing GAIs in their respective work domains. And we would be curating all these kind of deliverables with the help of all the experienced professionals who are working in the industry. So that's how we intend to work through this SIG. And we hope that these all deliverables would be helpful, covering up all the three thematic areas across the single mission, that we want to have the one stop learning hub being created for all the learners around generative AI, so that everybody learns, understand, and implement, and finally sees the ROIs in their business, which OpenAI has promised, which the field of GAI has promised to almost all the enterprises. With this,
Perfect.
I end this charter discussion, and I hope that it would be helpful for all the learners in the upcoming days.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Rajan. To quickly round off, we welcome everybody to be part of the journey that we are taking towards collaboratively learning on generative AI. Thank you so much.
Thank you.